Welcome to our channel, where we explore the most sought-after state quarter-dollar coins. These small coins hold big stories and value that every collector wants to know about. Stick around as we reveal what makes them so special and why they continue to capture collectors' attention. A Georgia state quarter from 1999, something millions of people have held in their hands, once sold for an amount that would surprise even experienced collectors. The 1999 Georgia State Quarter was part of the U.S. Mint's 50 State Quarters program, which launched in 1999 and continued for 10 years. The initiative aimed to celebrate each U.S. state with a design that reflected its heritage, identity, or significant symbols. The result was one of the most successful and widely collected coin programs in American history. Georgia, being the fourth state to ratify the Constitution, was the fourth state honored in the program, and its quarter was released later that same year. On the reverse side of the coin is a design packed with local symbolism. A peach sits prominently in the center, a fruit that's long been associated with Georgia's identity and even led to its nickname, the Peach State. The peach overlays a detailed outline of the state, representing both pride and geography. Flanking both sides are two elegant branches of live oak, which is Georgia's official state tree. These branches symbolize strength, endurance, and growth. Across the design is a banner displaying the state motto, wisdom, justice, moderation. Above all of this is Georgia 1788, the year Georgia became the fourth U.S. state. Below it reads the coin's issue year, 1999, along with the traditional Latin motto, E pluribus unum. The obverse of the quarter carries the long-standing portrait of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan in 1932. It remains consistent across all state quarters, providing visual continuity throughout the series. To the right of Washington's neck is the mint mark, in this case, a small P indicating the Philadelphia Mint. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 450 million Georgia quarters in 1999. That's nearly 500 million coins. From a quantity perspective, it's one of the most common quarters of the state series. That means most of these coins have little or no added value today. They were intended for general circulation, and that's exactly what happened. They went into cash drawers, lunchboxes, parking meters, and piggy banks across the country. Over time, nearly all of them picked up signs of wear. Some were scratched, others dinged or faded. Even those found in original bank rolls were rarely in perfect condition due to the high-speed minting process. Slight imperfections, small nicks, weak strikes, or dull patches, were normal. That's why high-grade Georgia quarters are so elusive. Very few coins were pulled from circulation early and handled carefully enough to be submitted for grading while still in pristine condition. And that's what makes one particular example so remarkable. A single 1999 Georgia quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was submitted to a professional grading service and received an almost unheard-of Mint State 69 certification. MS 69 is an elite grade. It means the coin was struck sharply, exhibits original mint luster, and shows virtually no flaws to the naked eye or under magnification. Only the slightest imperfections, often invisible without specialized tools, keep it from being a perfect MS 70. For a modern coin, especially one struck in massive quantities and not meant for long-term preservation, this level of quality is exceptionally rare. This quarter's surfaces were bright, unblemished, and free from the abrasions and marks that most coins pick up from contact with other coins. The strike was bold and complete, with every fine line in the oak leaves, every curve of the peach, and every letter of the motto clearly defined. Because so few Georgia quarters have been certified at this level, this coin became a condition rarity. Not rare due to age or mintage, but because of its almost flawless state of preservation. That's the kind of coin that attracts attention from serious collectors, especially those building top-tier registry sets. Registry set collectors compete to assemble the highest graded examples of each coin in a particular series. For them, an MS 69 example of a common coin becomes a key piece, not because it's old or scarce, but because it's virtually perfect. When this coin entered the market, collectors immediately recognized its rarity and desirability. Offers began to come in, and after some competitive bidding, the coin was eventually sold for a remarkable $65,000. No silver, no error, no rare die variety. Just a standard quarter, made for everyday use, elevated in value by the sheer perfection of its condition. That's the power of grade in modern coin collecting. What this proves is that rarity today isn't always about the total number produced. It's often about how few were preserved in flawless condition. Especially with coins like state quarters, which were struck by the millions and intended for immediate use, finding one that avoided the slightest flaw is like finding a needle in a haystack. The Georgia quarter joins a growing list of modern coins that have broken expectations, not for being ancient, not for being made of precious metals, but for standing out in terms of quality alone. Collectors know that while many coins are common in general, the top 1%, or even top 0.1%, in terms of condition can be worth exponentially more. So if you're looking through change or going through old rolls of state quarters, keep an eye out for those that still shine, that still show the detail and luster of a coin that's barely been touched. It may not be likely, but it's certainly not impossible. Moving on to our second coin, a quarter that might seem common at first glance but carries a hidden value that's caught the attention of collectors across the country. We're talking about the 2001 Kentucky State Quarter, a piece released as part of the U.S. Mint's iconic 50 State Quarters program. While millions of these coins entered everyday circulation, one particular example managed to rise above the rest, not because of an error or a rare variation, but simply because of its remarkable preservation. The Kentucky Quarter was the 15th release in the series and pays tribute to the state's deep-rooted traditions. The reverse design features the historic Federal Hill Mansion, better known as My Old Kentucky Home, set behind a split-rail fence with a finely detailed thoroughbred horse standing in the foreground. It's a clear reference to Kentucky's long-standing relationship with horse breeding and racing, a legacy woven into the culture of the state. The words, My Old Kentucky Home, 1792, and E Pluribus Unum, complete the elegant design, making this coin a miniature tribute to Kentucky's heritage. The obverse, like the rest of the series, features the familiar profile of George Washington, a design by John Flanagan that's been used on quarters since 1932. Next to Washington's ponytail, the small P mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, where over 370 million Kentucky quarters were produced in 2001 alone. That's a huge number, and it means the coin itself isn't rare by mintage, but here's where the story changes. While the Kentucky quarter is common in quantity, it's incredibly rare in top-tier condition. Most of the coins entered circulation almost immediately, passing through countless hands and accumulating wear, scratches, and dings along the way. Even those stored in mint rolls or bags often show marks from being jostled against other coins during high-speed production and transport. This makes finding a coin in near-perfect condition a serious challenge. However, a small handful avoided all of that. One specific Kentucky quarter, struck in Philadelphia and carefully preserved from the moment it left the mint, was later graded by professionals and earned an astounding Mint State 69 rating. That's just 1 point below a perfect score. For a modern circulating coin, especially one with a massive mintage, an MS-69 is almost unheard of. This coin exemplifies the exceptional level of preservation and quality that few coins ever achieve. This particular coin stood out for its full strike, flawless surfaces, rich luster, and complete lack of distracting marks. Every line in the design, from the detail on the horse to the architecture of Federal Hill, was crisp and clear. The background fields were smooth and reflective, free of haze or blemishes. It was, simply put, a near-perfect example of what the mint intended to produce, and what nearly all other coins failed to achieve. In the world of registry collecting, coins like this are gold. Collectors compete to build the highest-ranking graded sets, and they'll often pay a premium for the best-known example of any coin. With so few Kentucky quarters reaching this level of perfection, demand for this MS-69 example quickly grew. The result? This single 25-cent piece eventually sold for a remarkable $58,000. It's an impressive price for any modern coin, especially one that most people overlook in everyday transactions. But it also highlights something important in numismatics: condition can transform an ordinary coin into something truly extraordinary. Rarity isn't always about how many were made, sometimes, it's about how few were preserved just right. Most Kentucky quarters today are worth their face value, even if they look relatively clean. A slightly above average example might be worth a few dollars in uncirculated condition. But that top 0.001%, the coins that somehow stayed untouched, undamaged, and brilliant, can be worth thousands. This rarity makes finding such coins all the more exciting for collectors and enthusiasts alike. So the next time you're going through your change or coin collection, keep an eye out. Look closely at state quarters that seem unusually clean or sharply struck. It might take a trained eye or even a grading service to confirm it, but you could be holding something far more valuable than expected. The story behind the coin's journey, from the mint press to a pristine collector's cabinet, adds a layer of intrigue to every coin worth its weight in history. Coins like the 2001 Kentucky quarter remind us that the stories behind coins aren't just about what's printed on them, they're about how they've survived. And once in a while, a coin meant for everyday use ends up as a high-grade rarity that collectors are willing to chase. It's the journey and preservation that turn a humble quarter into a prized collectible. Each coin carries a unique story of time, care, and chance, making every discovery special. These coins connect us to history and show us the value of patience and preservation. Understanding the factors that contribute to a coin's value helps collectors appreciate the subtle differences that set certain coins apart. It also highlights the importance of proper handling and storage for anyone interested in coin collecting. With such a vast number of coins produced each year, it's remarkable how a few can rise to the top and captivate collectors worldwide. This Kentucky quarter is a perfect example of how condition and history intertwine to create lasting value. Up next is a coin that might look familiar to many but holds a story that few know, the 2004 Michigan State Quarter. Part of the celebrated 50 State Quarters program, this coin was released to honor Michigan's unique geography and history. At first glance, it seems like just another quarter you might find in your change, but stick with me because there's more beneath the surface. The reverse side of this coin features a detailed outline of Michigan's Lower Peninsula, surrounded by the Great Lakes, Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Erie. This design perfectly symbolizes Michigan's deep connection to these vast bodies of water, which have played an essential role in shaping the state's economy and culture. Alongside this image, you'll see the inscriptions Michigan, 1837, which marks the year Michigan became the 26th state, and the classic motto, E pluribus unum. Together, these elements reflect the pride and heritage that Michigan brings to the 50 State Quarter series. Flipping the coin over, you find the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, which has graced the quarter since 1932. Just to the right of Washington's ponytail is the mint mark P, indicating this particular coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. It's important to know that in 2004, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 277 million of these Michigan quarters, a huge number by any standard. Here is the twist: despite this massive mintage, not many have survived in top-notch condition. Most of these quarters were made for everyday circulation, meaning they quickly passed through countless hands, exposed to wear, scratches, and environmental factors. The vast majority now show signs of this use, which makes finding one that remains virtually flawless exceptionally rare. Among those millions, a small number were carefully preserved, escaping the typical wear and tear. One such coin achieved a Mint State 69 grade, which is almost perfect, just one step below the absolute highest grade of Mint State 70. This rating means the coin shows full original luster, exceptional detail, and hardly any imperfections, even when examined under magnification. Collectors prize coins like this for several reasons. First, they represent a level of quality that is hard to find for coins from modern circulation. Second, these coins become centerpiece items in registry sets, where collectors compete to assemble the finest coins possible. When a coin like this Michigan quarter appears in the market, it instantly grabs attention and commands premium interest. It's worth noting that coins from the 50 State Quarters program often face a common misconception, that because they were produced in large quantities, they hold little value beyond face. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. The value of these coins is increasingly driven by condition and rarity within that condition. High-grade examples, like this Mint State 69 Michigan quarter, prove that condition trumps mintage when it comes to value. Moreover, the journey from production to preservation is rarely kind to circulating coins. Many quarters end up in pockets, purses, and cash registers, enduring countless abrasions and impacts. Exposure to dirt, oils, and environmental conditions can dull their surfaces. So, when a coin comes along that has retained its original brilliance and sharp details, it stands apart from the masses. This coin's value is a reflection of that rarity. The coin value for this nearly flawless Michigan quarter stands at an impressive $51,000. Such a high value for a quarter issued in the 21st century is a testament to how condition, rarity, and collector demand can transform an everyday object into a valuable treasure. Beyond its value, this coin serves as a fascinating reminder that not all rarity is about age or low production numbers. Sometimes, rarity is about survival. How many coins remain in excellent condition out of the millions minted? It's this concept that opens up exciting opportunities for collectors and enthusiasts alike. If you are someone who enjoys collecting or simply appreciates coins, this story underlines why paying attention to detail matters. Whether it's the sharpness of the strike, the preservation of the luster, or the absence of marks, these factors can dramatically impact what a coin is worth. Even coins that seem ordinary can hold extraordinary potential if they have been well cared for. So, if you ever come across a 2004 Michigan quarter that appears unusually bright or flawless, take a moment to consider its condition. It could be worth much more than its face value suggests. This coin proves that everyday objects can sometimes become extraordinary finds, turning casual collectors into passionate enthusiasts. In addition to collectors, investors have also taken note of coins like this. As interest in numismatics grows, so does the demand for high-grade examples. This Michigan quarter stands as a perfect example of how coins can be both a hobby and an investment. As we continue to explore the fascinating world of coin collecting, remember that each coin tells a story, not just of the year it was minted, but of the journey it has taken since then. The 2004 Michigan State quarter is just one example of how condition and preservation can create incredible value. Let's move on to a fascinating piece from the 50 State Quarters program, the 2018 Cumberland Island quarter. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin, but this particular quarter tells a story deeply connected to Georgia's natural heritage and carries a surprising value for collectors. The design on the reverse side is truly captivating. It features a wild horse galloping freely along a shoreline, with the island's tree-covered landscape in the background. These horses have roamed Cumberland Island for generations, becoming an iconic symbol of the island's untamed beauty. The inscriptions include, Cumberland Island, Georgia, and the year, 2018, all carefully placed to honor the state and this special location. The artistry of the design captures the motion and spirit of the wild horses perfectly, making it one of the most visually appealing coins in the entire 50 State Quarter series. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, a timeless image that has appeared on quarters for nearly a century. The P mint mark shows that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a detail that helps collectors track its origin and production. This combination of historic portraiture and striking reverse design creates a coin that both respects tradition and celebrates unique state heritage. Although millions of these quarters were minted, most were destined for everyday use, making high-quality specimens surprisingly scarce. Coins like this one often show signs of wear, such as scratches, dullness, or surface marks, which lowers their appeal to collectors. The constant circulation means that many lose their sharpness, making pristine examples rare finds. Even when collectors acquire rolls or bags of quarters, finding a single coin with full original luster and sharp details is a challenge. Here's the twist: a small number of these Cumberland Island quarters were preserved in exceptional condition, earning top grades from professional coin grading services. One such example, graded Mint State 69, stands out for its nearly flawless surface, sharp detail, and original luster, qualities that are extremely rare for a coin produced for circulation in recent years. Coins graded MS 69 or above are considered nearly perfect, with only microscopic imperfections that are barely noticeable. Collectors value these high-grade coins for their rarity and visual appeal. In registry competitions and among serious numismatists, owning one of these coins can be a prized achievement. The combination of condition, design, and history all play a role in driving interest and demand. Coins like this Cumberland Island quarter often become centerpiece holdings in advanced collections due to their scarcity and significance. It's important to understand that condition often holds more weight than mintage numbers when it comes to value. While millions of Cumberland Island quarters exist, only a tiny fraction survive in such pristine form. This scarcity creates a niche market where collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for coins in top condition. For many, the story the coin tells, combined with its visual beauty, enhances its desirability beyond just being a collectible. The coin's connection to Cumberland Island's wild horses also adds an emotional element that collectors appreciate. It's not just about a piece of metal but a symbol of nature's resilience and the unique beauty of this protected area in Georgia. Cumberland Island itself is a place where nature and history merge, from ancient Native American sites to historic plantations, and now a national seashore. The coin captures this layered heritage in a small but powerful way. Moreover, Cumberland Island has been home to generations of these wild horses, which have become emblematic of freedom and survival. For many collectors, the quarter represents a tribute not only to the state but also to environmental preservation and respect for natural history. This emotional connection often drives collector passion, making these coins more than just monetary investments. The coin's relatively recent release means it has a modern appeal. Unlike older coins where value comes from age and scarcity, the Cumberland Island quarter's worth is largely due to condition and demand among collectors who seek the finest examples. This highlights a shift in numismatics where modern coins, if preserved well, can be highly valuable. If you ever come across a 2018 Cumberland Island quarter that looks unusually bright, sharp, and free of marks, it might be worth having it examined by a professional. Its value could be much higher than its face value suggests, especially if it earns a high grade from a respected grading service. Even a slight increase in grade can mean a big jump in value in the collector market. This coin recently sold for an impressive $32,000, showing how condition and collector interest can elevate even modern quarters into valuable collectibles. It serves as a reminder that with careful preservation and a keen eye, even coins from recent years can become prized treasures. This sale proves that collecting coins is not just about rarity in numbers, but rarity in quality and appeal. For collectors, this quarter represents more than just monetary value. It's a testament to the idea that beauty and rarity can be found in the most unexpected places. It encourages coin enthusiasts to look beyond just old or rare dates and to consider condition and story as key factors in valuation. This mindset opens doors to discovering hidden gems in everyday coins. Thanks for being part of this journey. See you next time. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment with your thoughts or questions. We love hearing from fellow collectors. Be sure to keep watching for daily updates where we uncover more hidden gems and valuable coins. Your next treasure might be just around the corner.